Chapter 52. Deborah in the Closet. A vegetarian buffet was served, and the gathering split up into groups. Family and non-bridge playing friends ate in the dining room and kitchen, while the bridge players converged on the patio. Leslie, Tony, and I took our plates to the patio. We heard a lot more stories about Trap. They all began with something like, "He was playing in 4 spades," and ended with something like, "And he won the last trick with the 3 of clubs," which caused everyone to erupt with laughter. Leslie would look to me for an explanation, but I didn't understand much more than she did. Still, I enjoyed the stories. It was nice hearing everyone talk about Trap. I was reminded of something he told me. His body might be gone, but the idea of Lester Trap was still alive. Wallace told about the time that Trap was declarer in a 5-diamond contract, without a diamond in his hand. We had a slight misunderstanding about that bidding. Even I laughed at that. "But when I passed his 5-diamond bid," Wallace said, "you would not have known everything was wrong from looking at him." The opening lead was made. I set down the dummy, and he simply said, "Thank you, partner," as if he were in a perfectly normal contract. As I watched him play the hand, I kept wondering, why isn't he pulling trump? Finally, an opponent led a diamond, and he discarded a spade. Only then did I realize that we might not be in the best contract. "No diamonds, partner?" I asked. He glared back at me. The thing is, he managed to hold it down. He managed to hold it to down 2. We lost 11 IMPs on the board, but if he had been down 3, we would have lost by 13. We won the match by 1 IMP. "Luckily he wasn't doubled," said Leslie, surprising everyone, I think, with her bridge knowledge. "No, he would have been happy to have been doubled," explained the woman who sold me my car. "Then he would have gotten another chance to bid." "I have a story," I said, suddenly finding my courage. I told about my first day as Trap's Cardturner, and how he had called me a moron and imbecile when I first tried to give him his hand. "I didn't know what I did wrong, but you should have heard him scream at me." "We did," said someone I recognized from the club. I then told about the car ride home and those 13 letters, GBCDIOAORYTGL. I asked if anyone could repeat them, but nobody volunteered. Then he gave me the same letters in a different order, GIRLBOYCATDOG. By the time I got to cat, several of them were saying the letters right with me. 13 letters, said Arnold. "The number of cards in a bridge hand. Divided into 4 suits," said Wallace. Tony smiled at me as if to say, "You did good." By the way, if you're wondering how I could have recited those letters out of order, I used a little trick, which I think might be the same trick Trap used. I began with the first letter of girl, then the first letter of boy, then cat, then dog, then the second letter of each word, and so forth. That is the way I wrote it in Chapter 10 of this book, but that was just a guess. I can't say for certain in what order Trap gave me those letters. Arnold's wife, Deborah, had the best Trap story. The story took place before she and Arnold were married. Trap was living in an apartment in Norwalk, Connecticut at the time. There was a regional in Bridgeport, not too far away, and Trap had let Deborah crash on his sofa for the tournament. "It was my first day there," Deborah said. "He was playing in a pairs game and I was in a knockout, so I got back to the apartment before he did. There was only one bathroom, and being the good guest, I took my shower before he came home. It wasn't until after I stepped out of the shower that I noticed there weren't any towels." "Typical," said Lucy. "So, very wet and very naked, I peeked out the bathroom door to make sure the coast was clear, then ran into the hall and quickly tried to find a linen closet." "Uh-oh," said Leslie. "Uh-oh is right," said Deborah. I suddenly heard the front door start to open. Leslie gasped. "I ducked into some sort of utility closet," said Deborah. A second later, I hear Trap just outside my door, muttering to himself about some stupid bridge hand. If I try to pull trump, they'll tap me in hearts, but if I don't pull trump, they'll rough clubs. This goes on for I don't know how long. I'm in there, she looked at Leslie, freezing my nose off, and he's right outside, muttering to himself. "Wasn't there anything in the closet you could use to cover yourself up?" asked Leslie. "There was a vacuum cleaner," said Deborah, "but I couldn't figure out how that would help me. I also noticed some rolls of toilet paper and actually thought about trying to wrap myself, but I figured that would be more embarrassing than just being naked. Finally, I just decided that the best defense was a good offense. I stepped out of the closet in all my glory and demanded, 'Where do you keep the damn towels?' Leslie covered her mouth with her hand. Trap looked up at me for no more than half a second. Then he handed me this torn envelope with the bridge diagrams scrawled on it and asked, "How would you play four spades after the lead of the three of clubs?"